I think you're amazing.
You are too, Henry.
Thank you so much. Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you. Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection. God bless you. I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank
God
you.
bless you too. Thank you for having us.
Welcome to the Brawling Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Have you ever wondered why so many people try to force their beliefs onto other people? I've often thought about that a time or two. I wonder why people do that. That's what I want to talk about today. Why do people force their beliefs onto others? All of us have certain beliefs, whether you agree with it or not. We all have certain beliefs. We all have something that we hold true to our heart. But what do you do when you're put in a position where someone tries to force their way of being, that's what belief is, or their belief system onto you? A belief is simply an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. It means that you're hopeful and you're optimistic. You have trust and confidence in something. This is what belief looks like. It's just like people that will say, I believe in God. I believe in heaven. I believe in myself. I believe I deserve a raise. These are simply beliefs. Doesn't make it true, but they're just simply beliefs. And I've come to the reality of is that everyone is entitled to their beliefs. You are entitled to what and how you believe, regardless of what anybody else thinks or regardless of who disagrees with it. You are entitled to that. I am entitled to my beliefs. The beautiful thing I love about my beliefs is that I'm not concrete about everything. I'm not absolute about everything. There are some things I do hold dear to my heart. There are some things I do hold as an absolute. But even in those things, I have room for development. I have room for growth. So we shouldn't get stuck in one belief thinking like, okay, I'm right about this, because that could change. That could change. So I love my belief system that I'm so secure in it that I can grow in that belief and learn new things, not just for myself, but learning from other people as well. You can't get angry when someone has an opposing view or an imposing belief than you. Because, like I said, not everybody's going to believe like you. They're just not. And the fact that you will get angry when someone has an imposing view than yours is very telling. When people attempt to force their beliefs onto someone, to me, I think it's a sign of insecurity. You don't really believe what you believe. I remember this was several years ago when I was really active in the ministry. I had become exposed to the gospel of grace at that time, was the grace movement that I was very much a part of, and still pretty much a part of it today. I believe the gospel is all about inclusion, about acceptance, about love for everyone, not just for certain people. But I remember at that time, I was preaching it, but I came across very aggressive. I didn't know it at the time. I think it was just a lot of it was just excitement, and a lot of it was bitterness on my part, and I was just angry. I had a preacher reach out to me. He had been in ministry for 50, 60 years, probably longer now. And he says, Henry, I don't think you believe what you're preaching. I was like, how dare you say that to me? But he told me that. He said, I don't believe you. He said, I don't believe that you believe what you're preaching. And I thought about it. I said, why would you say that? He said that because I was trying to over-convince people. That's what I was trying to do. That this message was too good to be true, that whether you believe it or not, I'm going to force it down your throat. I'm going to make you believe it. And don't you dare disagree with me. That was my attitude. It came from a heart of hatred and bitterness. And for that, I am so sorry for anyone that I have affected at that time. But the pastor told me at that time, he said, I don't think you believe what you believe. And he was right. I didn't. Because if I was truly secure in what I believe, and if I was really confident and optimistic about where I stood in my belief and my message I was presenting to people at that time, I wouldn't need the attitude or feel like I needed to force it upon people. And also the fact that you feel like you have to force your message or presentation onto other people, that's very telling too. Because you can't force feed someone, because if you try to, guess what? They're not going to eat it. And it's not enjoyable having a belief or something forced down your throat. I don't have to believe the way you believe. You don't have to believe the way I believe. I hope that helps someone today. You are so insecure and uncertain about what you believe that you feel you need to shove it down people's throats. People do that all the time. And we see this happening in the political world, the church world, and some people can become very hateful if you do not believe exactly the way that they do. And I've seen this happen, folks, time and time again. I would even go as far as to say that we are not wired to believe the same. It's called diversity. Isn't that a beautiful thing? It's called being so secure, not only in yourself or your identity, but you're so secure and mature in that while we may not hold similarities in our belief system, we can still walk away and still love each other and just respectfully disagree. But what if you run into that person, as I was at one time, that's a little forceful with their message? What is the root cause of that? Well, number one, the root cause is insecurity. You're just insecure. Because as I said earlier, if you were truly secure about your message, you wouldn't need to force it on people. Number two, a lot of times people are this way because people think that they are always right and the other people are wrong. That's another reason why a lot of people force their message onto people. The next one, they are closed-minded. That word closed-minded means narrow-minded. You're so narrow-minded that nothing else can get in there because you think you don't want to have all the answers. Don't listen to someone who think they have all the answers, because the reality of it is they don't. Another one is they want their beliefs to be validated. They assume that you don't understand, so sometimes those that disagree with you feel the need to educate you about something that you probably already know, but because you're not seeing it from their point of view or perspective, they feel like they need to educate you. So wrong, so disrespectful. They enjoy debating, they enjoy arguing, only to prove their point. And lastly, a lot of people who are this way have an ego trip. Look at how much I know. I went to the best colleges. I went to the best schools. I went to Bible school. I know more than you. We developed this superiority complex, thinking that we're better than everyone else because we got a degree and that we know more than someone else theologically. When you really don't, when you have that attitude, it shows me that you really don't know nothing. You really don't know nothing. It's important to also realize that a belief is simply a belief. Why are we fighting over it? If you came to me today and said, Henry, I believe in God, I'll be like, oh, that's awesome. And this brother over here is like, well, I don't believe in God. I'm going to be like, awesome. Why? Because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't bother me. Why? Because now I personally believe in God, but if somebody tells me they don't for whatever reason, we can still have coffee. We can still be buddies. We can still be friends. We can still do whatever. Why? Because I will never allow a belief to override my authentic friendships and love that I have for people. It's just not that important. It's not. So it is safe to cut people off who tries to prove their point. I don't see how y'all even have time. I don't do it no more. I used to. You're on Facebook and social media all the time arguing with people over a belief. I've seen people go all day long fighting and debating and arguing over a belief. It's nonsense. You don't have to force or impose your views onto others. You can share, but it's unacceptable to infringe upon the rights and lives of others whose ideals and choices you may not agree with. Thank you for watching the show. Make sure you connect with us on Facebook.com, The Brother Henry and You Show. Also connect with us on YouTube.com/Henry Harris 100. We'll see you next week. Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you. Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you, or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection. God bless you. I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank
God bless
you.
you too. Thank you for having me.